The digital world of the internet and the internal world of the psyche very much hold married hands, if you will, when it comes to unconscious shadow projection, because the digital is a kind of passive landscape that offers a plethora of opportunities for someone who doesn't want responsibility for their own actions. In my opinion, some of the most problematic issues that exist within the functionality, development, and existence of the internet or technology in general is the convenience it offers. This is because when living in our modern world, extreme convenience in any form can be antithetical to convenience itself or how we want it to be in relation to us. That in return, it becomes a convenience for negative human functioning. That extreme convenience produces human inertia from the disjointed relationship technology has with the real world. And this is allowed because when the mental mind discovers the digital, the personal mental reality itself conjoins onto the digital reality, because the structure of the digital complements the mental subjective psyche. The digital is not something that performs in the physical, but is of mental performance. Your psychic world, which consists of thought and consciousness, is the same as the digital, but the digital is a presentation of all that proceeds from the collective psyche, of all other people and that which they invest into it. So the reason why the shadow gets involved is because the digital acts as a psychological compensation for the real world. Why is it allowed to be a compensation, you may ask? Because its existence is a lesser burden than the real world, and this is the purest reason why convenience is in many ways a lie to your true self, and is the term that will probably, through the entrainment of passivity, bring the human race to its last breath, sadly, because convenience is that which takes away effort and raises inertia, or the thing that slowly transforms you from active subject into more or less an object. Nothing else than an inactive consumer, which is ultimately easier for someone else to control, fundamentally. Thus, not only of general convenience, but of psychological convenience, to simply project the shadow into the digital because the digital acts as a convenient avoidance of your own psychological mind, which is connected with the physical world. What occurs is then a purely mental mind game, or a twofold mental mind game of projecting from the mental into the digital in a looping fashion, unconsciously and continuously. And this is, of course, much more preferable for the unconscious than doing it externally through the body, due to, of course, convenience. As usual, it can be well said that the entire psychology and imagination of a generation has been projected into the digital in many different forms. But how often are those projections caused by the rejection of the individual within society? That society's continuous rejection of the individual for whatever means is internalized, which causes an affirmation for a digital replacement for the individual, or of the individual. Maybe the parents ignored the child, treated them badly, or many other reasons, but ultimately the digital world becomes a possible unconscious, convenient paradise for anonymity and mentally repressed projections for the sake of catharsis, satisfaction, or pitiful relief, presented, if seen consciously, in some of the most toxic forms. The narcissistic consumer culture, which we all have been entrained into to some degree, upholds the narcissistic personalities, which have unfolded from its duration, and thus cause empowerment to those which perform the many toxic projections made on Twitter, for example, to and towards people who have got nothing, of course, to do with their actual real lives. Whether it be negative abuse, it in many instances comes from a much more personal place of internal inferiority. given the particular subject and circumstance. The movement of online cancel culture may just be one of many examples of the collective shadow present in the digital sphere, where again it may just be motivated more so by shadow projection as a coping mechanism. To cancel something in society may be a short-term relief than to actually deal with the real internal repression. For example, someone might be rallying against free speech, but the reason why is really because they are projecting the flaws of their past, repressed experiences onto its suitable external object because something from the harsh truth of free speech hurt them in the past, as a possible example. But this even goes deeper in relation to the digital, because what if we enter or begin to enter an authoritarian system? People will be very scared of the powers in place. They will be frightened because their actions of free movement and expression and of any particular rights will be deemed non-negotiable, with the use of fees, court orders and arrests being made against those who commit to their own born right of individual sovereignty. So, in many instances, the newly learnt psychological conditioning of what is now bad behaviour and the emotional built-up friction against those demands will be pushed into the shadow, repressed. But the digital sphere will allow itself as a convenient place for expression without much or any real worldwide progression being made, especially if it is seen or used as a place for venting and only venting. Thus, it would be very likely that the state, in this instance, would formulate a negative stereotype or group identity of those individuals for the sake of using them as a targeted scapegoat for collective shadow projection of the newly conditioned people, because over time the people will repress their own emotions due to fear. So for a successful process like this to occur, the authoritarian power, which is the cause for repression out of fear, would need to collectively redirect that repressed, built-up anger to something much more suitable for their own benefit. Or that which goes against the authoritarian agenda, of course, and use its existence as the primary limiting factor to the somewhat fake utopian development of freedom that is promised in the near future. Therefore, by making it the primary limiting factor, the progress to conflict and acceptance for conflict will be likely, because the propaganda would teach something along the lines of defeat the scapegoat for a better future, something like that, which is tapping into the desperation of the people, their psychological egoism to an extent, and the fake truth of illusional change. For an authoritarian system to work, groupthink is of prime necessity, because the existence of groupthink not only dissolves the uniqueness of varying public opinion, but also makes people in general much more easier to control, which is what they want. This accepted behaviour inevitably places an extremely negative stigma against any kind of free thought, free speech, and freedom associated with life itself, which is dependent on how deep, the injection goes. So I think that explains the importance of this shadow psychologically through the digital, and how it can be used, I think, unconsciously without you even realising it, through something like mass psychological control, which makes it extremely important that people are able to identify these psychological processes occurring, because if you don't, they will remain unconscious to you and they will continue. So I hope this explains to you how powerful and dangerous the shadow is in many different circumstances when it is not dealt with, and how it can be well manipulated given the handy circumstances that you might be in. So with that said, thanks for watching.